So, see, I know that some marriages do work.
Well, that's Jim and Doris.
You bet it is. I'll see you later at the concert, Murphy.
Yeah. Hey, Jim.
Murphy?
Say, Jim, how about you and Doris join me for dinner after the concert tonight? It'll be your treat. It'll be your way of thanking me for getting you and Doris back together.
Look, Slugger, I've been hiding it all week. Maybe it was my pride or it was the fact that you were so hopeful about it, but I just couldn't tell you. Doris wants a divorce.
No. You can't do this. I need the two of you together. You're the one stable force I have.
How dare you put me in this position? I can't live my life for you. Oh. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry.
Well, this is what Doris wants.
Oh, is this what you want?
Yeah. No. I've loved Doris more than half my life.
Then fight for her, Jim. Win her back.
Too late.
Do whatever it takes. Send her flowers, write poetry, tell her what's in your heart.
Well, we'll see.
Oh, just don't leave it too long, Jim. At a certain point in life, you realize that all the time in the world isn't all that long.
You think I can do it? I'm going to win my wife back, and I'm going to start by buying every single rose in the District of Columbia. Ha!
Jim, wait up.
Some magic wand you got there.
Are you sure about this?
Trust me, this is one piece of music I know better than you.
My mother is a fashion zombie. No sense of style. I can't even go out of the house the way she wants me. And I have a date. I'm never leaving my room again.
Need a smile? Call Domino's.
Gotta go. I'm having dinner with my mom.
A Domino's deep dish does the trick. An inch thick with cheese baked to the edges. And now with 3 toppings, $8.99. Any second, $4.99.
So good.
But we deliver more than great pizza.
So nice. Gotta go.
I think we bonded.
At Domino's, we're delivering 1 million smiles a day.
Brightest of today. At the Chrysler Corporation, it's how we build great cars and great trucks.
Who's the next name on my list? Sears has the jewelry you want for the ones you love on sale. Like this half-carat diamond necklace, just $299.99. Come see the merry side of Sears.
Friday, welcome home for the holidays as Kathy Lee brings family and friends together for a magical all-new Christmas special with Kenny Rogers, CeCe Winans, the incredible Broadway kids, and more. It's a joyous evening of holiday entertainment that your whole family will love.
Look at Scully!
Kathy Lee, We Need a Little Christmas, Friday.
A huge jet line was forced to the ground by this?
I thought that a bird would actually fly into an engine.
And it happens more than you think. Plus, do you know what your kids are doing in school? We discovered many trade their books for bookies. Where is your child's money going? Public Eye in 1 minute.
Who gets to keep $250,000 found in a Catoosa County driveway? The story at 11.
My friend J.D. was about to deliver the punchline of his surefire, never-failed joke.
And then the elephant says, "Not with my trunk, you don't."
Seems his son Daryl had a knack for knowing the exact worst time to unplug the phone so he could go online.
Not with my trunk. Hello.
So I suggested they get an additional phone line, which allowed J.D. to say his surefire joke without Daryl's constant interruption.
And the elephant says, "Not with my trunk, you don't." Well, you know, I mean, he didn't want to with his trunk.
Hi, I'm Patrick Core, here at the Tennessee Aquarium where a feeding frenzy is going on. That's because it's time once again for Dive in the Winter. November 22nd through March 1st, the Tennessee Aquarium offers weekend visitors a special treat as they get to watch divers hand feed all kinds of aquatic animals, from diving ducks to sharks and stingrays. Visitors can even talk to the divers in the exhibits through a special high-tech Aqualink intercom system. It's a fun and educational experience for the entire family, so don't miss Dive in the Winter at the Tennessee Aquarium.
Return to CBS. Share a moment with the world.
Good evening. I'm Bryant Gumbel, and this is Public Eye. You're looking live at the scene of a hostage standoff in Orlando, Florida that has been going on now for almost 36 hours. Police officers and SWAT teams have surrounded an Orlando house in which a suspected killer is holding 2 young children and demanding a getaway car. Negotiations are continuing. In a moment, we'll go live to Florida for some insight into that ongoing drama. This jet fighter and this commercial airliner crashed after colliding with birds. That's the bad news. The worst news is that such collisions happen thousands of times every year.
Well, I've never really thought that a bird would actually fly into an engine. I never even thought of that as a danger in flying.
The airlines are reluctant to talk. Commercial pilots are not.
I could almost cry when I say that this is a preventable accident.
God help them if they run into a guy like me, because it's over with.
This guy aimed to be a part of the college experience. His field? Bookmaking.
How much were you into the bookies? Oh, $18,000, $20,000.
Tonight, Public Eye goes undercover to show you how college kids are booking bets with their parents' cash.
So you were scamming your parents to pay your bets?
You know, $100 here for student parking, $500 here for, you know, maybe above what the rent was.
And this money was going to?
Johnny Bananas.
The bookie.
Right.
Earlier this week, 3 skydivers were killed attempting to experience the thrill of their sport amid the isolation of the South Pole. The tragedy of their deaths is one story. The adventure they sought is quite another. We'll go skydiving at the tip of the earth tonight on Public Eye.
Live from CBS News, Public Eye with Bryant Gumbel. Those stories and more in just over a minute.
Sears gift idea number 116. Take your family to the newest destination in home entertainment. At just $499.99, the Magnavox digital video disc player is the ultimate in sharp sight and sound.
In 1984, 2 computer scientists envisioned the impossible, a seamless network of computer networks. They invented the router, and Cisco Systems was born. Out of Cisco came internetworking, and now directing millions of messages a day. Their equipment makes the internet possible. Cisco will be there as web users soar to 200 million by the year 2000. Where do you learn about companies so integrated into the future? NASDAQ, shaping the new world of investing.
Welcome to KFC.
Colonel strips, please. Extra crispy and spicy buffalo. It's going to be a big night.
Colonel strips are great when you're on the go. This 3-strip meal is just $2.99.
Julia, you've been a very good girl.
Got it handled. The quick and nimble DeVille with the North Star system.
DeVille, for the time of your life.
Promised Land, CBS Thursday.
You're now a free man.
Sully's coming home.
The Army, they plan an ambush, Sully. What you're ordering is murder.
It's Sully's Last Stand. Dr. Quinn, CBS Saturday.
Now, live from CBS News in New York, here is Bryant Gumbel.
Good evening. As we noted at the top of the hour, there's an ongoing situation that is fraught with tension and danger in Orlando, Florida tonight. There, an ex-convict who is now suspected of murder has for almost 2 days now been holding 2 young children hostage while a small army of law enforcement people ring the house. The youngsters inside are 2-year-old Teddy Priest and 4-year-old Malcolm Phillips. Their mothers, Adrienne and Iris, are living a parent's nightmare. They're both in Orlando amid the scene of a swarm of cameras down there. Ladies, good evening.
Good evening.
How are you holding up right now?
Fine. I'm doing fine.
Adrienne, are the police keeping you informed of what's going on, or are you just watching and waiting like everyone else?
Well, they're giving us, they're giving me most of the update. They're keeping us informed. They let us know everything that's going on.
The negotiators, Iris, seem prepared to just wait Armstrong out. Is that okay with you?
Pardon me?
The negotiators seem content to just wait Mr. Armstrong out. Is that okay with you?
Yes, that's okay. Anything not to agitate him.
Adrienne, I understand the police have spoken with your son, Malcolm. What have they told you about how Malcolm is holding up?
They said Malcolm's doing very good. He's holding up like a real champ, and I'm proud of him.
Have you had a chance to speak with him?
No, I haven't.
Your son is only 4 years old. Do you think he really understands what's going on?
I'm not sure at this moment, but I'm just glad he's holding up as strongly as he is.
It should be noted that neither of you knows this man inside. You were just minding your own business when he came in and grabbed the kids. Did he ever really threaten you, Iris?
Yes, he told me that when he came in, and if I don't open the bathroom door, which was actually the room door, he told me if I didn't open it after he fired one shot, that he was going to kill everybody. Kill Malcolm, because Malcolm was out there with him and everybody else was in the bedroom.
Final question. Armstrong has supposedly promised that he will release your children unharmed. Iris, do you believe him?
Yes, I do.
Adrienne, do you?
Yes, I have faith in him, and I have faith in God.
Ladies, thank you very much. Best wishes to both of you. This nightmare, as we said, actually began yesterday morning and has so far involved not only the taking of 2 kids, but also a high-speed chase and possibly murder. Public Eye's Derek McGinty is in Orlando.
It began before dawn yesterday with what police say was a cold-blooded killing of a truck driver. Authorities in the Orlando suburb of Winter Park launched a search for this man, John Edward Armstrong, wanted for questioning about the shooting. But it was hours before they finally found their suspect, and when they did, the desperate 39-year-old man fled.
Armstrong's chase ended right here, Florida's Interstate number 4, when his Jeep smashed into another car. It was then, police say, that Armstrong made a run for it, into the neighborhood right behind those trees, where he broke into a home and took 2 kids hostage.
The Orlando Police Department SWAT team, they just arrived at the scene, now deploying.
Sent the mothers out to tell the police he wanted a very explicit message sent to us, and that's one, we better back off or he's going to kill the kids. And he repeated that to both mothers.
Inside the small frame house were 2 toddlers, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. Their mothers had been forced out at gunpoint.
Please, let the babies go. I need them home. We all miss them. Please, just let them go. We need them. We miss them.
Well, this suspected gunman is held up.
Instead, John Armstrong dug in. As he talked with hostage negotiators and watched news reports on television, dozens of heavily armed Orlando police and Florida Highway Patrolmen moved in. They even brought in an armored personnel carrier. His sister pleaded with him to give up.
John, I'd rather see you sit in jail than to be dead. Please.
All day long, the children remained inside with John Armstrong. His relatives, brother, sister, and son, joined an old girlfriend on the streets outside. They, too, were worried.
Oh, he's not going to hurt the kids. Kids is all right. He laughed, you know. So the kids is fine.
You don't think you'll hurt them?
No, he'll never hurt no kids.
Captain Jerry Demings is the commander of the Orlando Police Department negotiation team. His people have been dealing with the barricaded suspect, John Armstrong, around the clock. Captain Demings, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
Give us an idea, if you would, about the nature of your communication with Armstrong. How often are your people speaking with him? What are they saying?
For the past many hours, we have been directly in contact with Mr. Armstrong, primarily by phone, although there have been times when we have communicated with him via a bullhorn.
We all know that he's demanded a car. What else is he asking for?
He has made very few demands, if you will. Primarily, the only things that he's asked for are food-type items.
How would you characterize his mindset?
At this time, he's very calm. He appears to be somewhat rational. Other than the early moments of the incident, he has been calm. In the very beginning, he was a little bit anxious at that point.
Captain, please correct me if I'm wrong. Is it true that this is the first hostage situation that your department has ever handled?
Not necessarily totally true. This is the first incident that we've handled in quite some time where there was no relationship between the individuals that were barricaded. We've worked hundreds of incidents where primarily the hostage taker, if you will, knew the subjects. In this case, he does not know the subjects, and we have not had one in many years where the individual did not know the subjects that he was in with.
I read earlier about Armstrong taking one of the children to the bathroom. Can we assume he's treating the children well?
Yes, sir. I think we can make that assumption. We have talked directly with both children various times throughout the last many hours.
What's the game plan here, Captain? Are you just going to wait him out, or is there a situation under which you would decide to use force?
At this point, Mr. Armstrong is cooperative with us. We are cooperative with him as long as our overall strategy is to seek peaceful resolution to this situation, and we're trying to gain the support of Mr. Armstrong to help us to do that.
Realistically, real quick, how much longer, given what he has inside, can he hold out?
Realistically, Mr. Armstrong could hold out for much longer. It's hard to say. There's food in the house, but he has talked to us pretty much continuously throughout, so we believe that fatigue will eventually set in.
Captain Jerry Demings, thanks so very much. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right, up next, we're going to change gears. We'll go on campus, where the subject is gambling, and the price is costly to both parents and students.
And still ahead on Public Eye, danger in the sky.
It was going through my mind, are we going to crash into the water? Are we going to crash into the mountain? Was the plane going to just explode?
When birds and planes collide, it happens more often than you think, and it can be deadly.
Oh, man, just a sandwich? I almost left my soup on the bus.
Nothing turns an ordinary sandwich into a satisfying meal like the taste of rich, wholesome Campbell's soup.
Hey, not my soup.
No, your mother gave you chicken noodle soup.
Oh.
My mother gave me tomato.
Hey, here we go again.
Campbell's makes everything.
Send your packages in 2 days with FedEx to lots of different places. You get lots of different prices.
Send your packages in 2 days with UPS to lots of different places. You get lots of different prices.
Send your packages in 2 to 3 days with priority mail to lots of different places. You get the same price.
You know, $3.
So, what's your priority? Priority mail from the U.S. Postal Service.
For Christmas and all year round, nothing escapes the power of a dirt devil.
Just hold this and you know you're going to get a close shave. Remington introduces the new shape in shaving.
The angle to the face, just right.
Can't believe I'm in love with an electric. But look at this shave. Remington's new dual microscreen, built to shave incredibly close.
And they guarantee it.
Dilbert for Office Depot.
Dilbert, I'd like you to meet Ben, our newest fast-track manager.
Hi.
Ben has no real experience, but he's very tall, so we know he'll go far.
I also have executive-style hair.
We think it will turn silver.
Business doesn't always make sense, but Office Depot does. With over 7,000 different office products, plus guaranteed low prices and free delivery on any order over $50. Business is crazy, but Office Depot makes sense.
A frightened father.
He slipped.
An accident or child abuse.
Do you want to lose your son?
Don't leave Dad.
See what develops on Chicago Hope. CBS Next.
Rodney was only 12 years old when he was murdered. His body was found in the garbage. Born drug addicted, then abandoned, Rodney's life was in the hands of the state. But the state's safety net not only didn't catch him, it may have helped kill him. Eye on America investigates tomorrow on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
As always, we would like your thoughts on our stories, be it the siege in Orlando or anything else that you might see on tonight's program. Just email us here at Public Eye while we're on the air. Our email address is publiceye@cbs.com. We'll check our inbox a little bit later and share some of your comments. We want to turn our attention now to a side of modern college life that parents don't learn about when they take the standard campus tour, and that is gambling. Although it's illegal, it's a safe bet. Sports gambling takes place on nearly every college and university campus in America. And once the bookies move in on them, even the best and brightest of students are no match for the pros. Bernard Goldberg has the story.
He wasn't a student and he wasn't a teacher, but Lex Faria spent an awful lot of time on college campuses. It's where he made his living.
God help them if they run into a guy like me, because it's over with. You've got to worry about school, finals, all that stuff. All I'm worried about is relieving you of your cash.
Lex Faria was a gangster tied to the Boston Mafia. More precisely, he was a bookie whose specialty was college kids.
The ones that I was looking for is the cocky kid, the kid that at home was the class president, the kid that was the big fish in a little pond. But now he's in Boston, he's going to school, he's 18 years old. He's vulnerable because now he's swimming in my pond.
What school are we talking about?
We're talking Harvard, MIT, Tufts, Brown, Boston College, Providence.
You serious? Harvard, MIT?
Absolutely.
Can I ask how much education you have?
11th grade.
And you're snookering these Harvard kids?
Easily. I looked at them as just tricks.
But you say tricks. I mean, that's what a prostitute calls...
They were my little lamb chops.
I think I'm a pretty good kid.
His name is Troy. He never met Lex, but he met guys just like him. How much were you into the bookies for?
Oh, $18,000, $20,000.
Can I assume that was money you didn't have?
You can assume that was money I didn't have.
Troy is a student at the University of Nebraska in Lincoln, home of the Cornhuskers, one of the top college football teams in the country. On the Saturday afternoon we were there, not all the action was on the field. This is a bar just a few blocks from the stadium. Lex Faria, the bookie, was our guide. He's carrying a hidden camera. See those guys against the wall? They're Nebraska students, and based on what he heard, Lex Faria says they're also bookies, middlemen, who take bets on their cell phones, then pass them along to the grown-ups running the operations.
This is the head bookmaker right here. These are his cronies.
And this is a bar right off campus?
This is a bar right off of campus. They're the only guys in there.
Washington, 88, and Miami for a total of 99.
There. He just took the bet. Now he's going to his pen. He's got his tout sheet right here. And he is getting suspicious of me at this time.
You're not a cop, are you?
If I was a cop, what are you talking to you for?
What's the bet?
So basically right there, he admits to me, man to man, that he's a bookmaker when he says to me, if you wanted to place a bet.
How much money can a kid like that make?
I'm guessing that he's probably making $500, $600, $700.
A what, a week?
A week.
Really? How long did it take you to find guys taking bets on campus?
Less than 24 hours.
And there's nothing special about Nebraska. Lex Faria says that sports gambling on campuses all over the country is about as common as beer at a fraternity party. And if that's news to you, it's also news to a lot of parents who are the ones putting up the money to cover a lot of lost bets.
I don't think that most parents understand what's going on. I think they're worried about alcohol. They're probably still worried about drugs. And I think most parents don't have an idea about where the money is going.
And if you don't believe him, just listen to them.
So you were scamming your parents to pay your bets? Yeah. Like what? What were you telling them?
You know, $100 here for student parking, $500 here for, you know, maybe above what the rent was.
And this money was going to?
To, you know, Johnny Bananas.
The bookie.
Right.
Mike went to Florida State. Michael goes to school in Pennsylvania. And Troy is the Nebraska student. They're all compulsive gamblers.
I called my parents, crying my eyes out, saying I lost $3,000 betting, and that I was very sorry. I would never do it again. And because they love their son so much, they sent me a check for $3,000. And I cashed it, and I gave it to the bookies. 2 days later, I'm with another bookie betting again.
2 days later?
Actually, it might have been the next day.
There were plenty of times when I was down, you know, $5,000, $10,000 going into towards the end of the week.
Whoa. How much?
Yeah, $5,000, $10,000. That was nothing.
Where did you get $10,000 to bet in college?
It was on credit. That's the thing about college bookies. It's all on credit. I had $30,000, $60,000 in one day of action without $500 in my bank account.
Would the week be incomplete if you didn't put some money down?
Not incomplete. It would be disastrous.
You're at a football institution. Did you care if Nebraska won or lost?
No.
Or just you didn't care?
And my brother played for him.
Your brother played football for Nebraska.
Yes.
You were betting on their games.
And most of the time against them.
That's the world of sports gambling, where there's no such thing as rooting for the home team or school spirit. All that matters is winning the bet. But what happens when you lose once too many times and the bookie wants his money?
They ever threaten you? I mean, like I'll break your legs type of stuff?
The time that I got down $14,000, I was so scared for my life. My roommate at the time was in a fraternity, and someone came up behind him and grabbed him on the shoulder and said, "You're a marked man if Mike doesn't come up with the money." They were badgering all my other friends, wanting to know where I was. I came back to my room, didn't turn on the lights to my room because I was actually scared that someone would be sitting out in that car with a gun, looking at my window, waiting for the lights to come on to shoot me. That's how scared I was.
Creating victims. That was my job. Take the most amount of your disposable income out of your pocket and put it in mine.
Lex Faria is not in the bookmaking business anymore. He says he was getting too old to hang out with college kids on campus. But that's exactly what he's still doing, except now he visits schools all over the country where he talks to students about the dark side of gambling.
My regret is that I stacked a lot of little bodies up, and I trashed them, and I trashed them good. Right now, it gives me a certain amount of therapy, if you want to put it that way, to get up there and talk to them and tell them what's waiting for them.
Not every kid who bets, of course, becomes a compulsive gambler. But for those who couldn't stop and couldn't pay, Lex was there with a way out. He would turn his little lamb chops into little felons. He'd have them pass counterfeit money for the mob, or fence stolen goods, or worse.
I have him burn down a house.
Come on.
I'll tell you the story. He goes over there, he goes and dumps gas in the basement, goes to light the darn thing, but the fumes have built up. Next time I see him, his hair's all singed off of his head. He has no eyebrows, no eyelashes, and he damn near killed himself.
You know, you're sitting there with that infectious smile of yours. You were a bad guy.
Absolutely. I'm not apologizing for anything that I did. There was lots of guys waiting to get in my spot.
You had a college kid in the Boston area who you pushed too far, right?
Absolutely.
What happened?
Jumped off a bridge, killed himself. He owed me $280.
$280?
$280.
And how'd you push him?
Putting the pressure on him. He refused to do what I asked him to do. It was the time in his life where his parents were going to have to find out what was going on.
And he kills himself. And your first reaction was?
I hope he didn't leave my name in the suicide note.
Does the word conscience mean anything to you? I mean,
it didn't at the time. It does now.
And that wasn't the only time we heard a story just like that.
And I got to the point where I was absolutely tired of doing it, tired of living. And so I attempted suicide.
What'd you do?
I took a little over 100 pills and drank a bottle of vodka in a hotel room in Las Vegas. The next thing I know, basically, I woke up, and it was like 3.5 days later. Then I had to face the music, which made it even extra difficult, because I truly, really wanted to be gone.
Face the music.
I mean, I had to call my parents.
Facing the bookie was easier than facing your parents.
The toughest thing I've ever done in my entire life was that phone call, by far.
They all say they don't gamble anymore, but because they're like alcoholics, they're taking it one day at a time. And they're all in therapy. In his own way, so is Lex Faria.
If I got to one kid, it's worth it for all the little lives I trashed, because the body count was getting pretty high.
And it's a good bet that the old Lex, the campus bookie, wouldn't have shed a tear for any of them.
When I've wrung the last drop of sweat out of them, I'm kicking them into the dumpster, and that's the end of them. I don't want to see them anymore. I don't want to know their name. It's over with for them. It's all about money. It's all about greed, and it's all about me being a predator. The ones you're going to go after are the young ones.
Bernie Varia says it's all about money. Is that what it's all about?
Well, it's all about money for the bookie. I mean,
well, what about for the kids?
Every kid we spoke to, Bryant, said, I know this is going to sound strange, but he said money had nothing to do with it. Now, winning is better than losing, but they all said it was the rush.
Yeah.
They get, well, I know, when somebody says it's not the money.
It's the money. You got it. Realistically, how concerned should parents be about the threat to their child?
Look, if you get a call from your child on campus that says, I need extra money for the rent or for food or I chipped my tooth, it's probably true. But compulsive gamblers are the biggest liars on the face of the earth. These guys will make stuff up, and they'll convince their parents that they really need the money. So
if he chips a tooth every month, you ought to catch on to the,
yeah, that's right.
the idea of it. What, if anything, can university officials do about the problem? Are they trying to do anything about it, or does everybody just kind of wink at it?
Well, yeah, everybody Everybody says it's a terrible thing, but the fact of the matter is you can open up any American newspaper right now, almost any paper. Go to the sports page, you'll find the gambling line, the betting line. But gambling on sporting events is illegal in every place in the United States except Las Vegas. You can't open the newspaper and find out how much crack cocaine costs in New Orleans or how much heroin costs in Seattle. That's illegal.
But you can
so
see
is
the
gambling.
Jets are giving 3 to the Bucks, yeah.
And that's illegal, too?
You got it. Bernie, thanks very much. Next up, an eye-opening report on airline safety and the surprising danger posed by the birds that share our skies.
Ahead on Public Eye, the appeal behind a sometimes dangerous sport. We'll take the leap with one of America's boldest skydivers.
Oh my gosh, did you see the way he skates? He's so cute. He is so squeezable. Oh, with those touchable little cheeks. Don't you just want to hug him and take him home? Guys, I think I love him. He's so cute.
Hi there.
Hi, Scott.
Introducing Snowden, the cutest, softest snowman ever to lace up skates. You'll find Snowden and his forest friends make the perfect gift for someone on your list, even if it's you. Find the cutest holiday gifts at Target.
I got rid of my gray hair in just 5 minutes.
New Just 5, the only 5-minute hair color for women that blends away gray in 5 minutes without changing your natural color.
And I love the natural highlights and shine.
New Just 5.
I'm sending this chainsaw carved cowboy to New York City. I'm sending an Arizona Christmas tree.
To Connecticut. Pecan pie for my nephews in Missouri.
If you can dream it up, we can pack it up and get it there at mailboxes, etc.
They told me next time they'd send a bigger one.
Still ahead on Public Eye, people taking a giant leap over some of the most unlikely spots on Earth. Why skydivers court death and why they wouldn't have it any other way.
The address.
Come join us for the annual Christmas on the River and Holiday Nightlight Parade, Saturday, December 13th.
The parade begins at 6 o'clock on Market Street and continues to Ross's Landing.
At 7 o'clock, Christmas on the River celebrates its 17th year with great entertainment and the lighted boat parade on the Tennessee River.
St. Nick will be there accepting wish lists from all the children, and a spectacular fireworks display brings the festivities to a colorful close.
So come be a part of this holiday tradition in downtown Chattanooga.
Hi, I'm Patrick Core. Help us remember the less fortunate children here at home this holiday season. We can all help spread joy and happiness by taking an angel off the Salvation Army angel tree this Christmas. Simply take an angel off one of the trees at Northgate Mall, Goodies, or any participating Walmart and Kmart. Then purchase and return a gift to that location.
You too can be an angel this holiday season to a child right here in the Tennessee Valley.
A jury deliberates a verdict in the Mountain Shadows murder, the latest at 11.
These are the times to share. This is the season of reasons to show you care.
Give the comfortable classic. Give Arrow. Gold Toe is a great stocking stuffer, and the Hager Black Label Collection makes the perfect gift. And now through December 15th, register to win a holiday trip to see your family or bring them to you. Our sweepstakes includes airfare and Alamo car rental.
Holiday living.
For Christmas and all year round, nothing escapes the power of the Dirt Devil.
Welcome back to Public Eye. Just ahead, the threat birds pose to airline safety. Also, why skydivers defy the dangers to take their stunning leap. And you know all about the gifts in the 12 days of Christmas. Now, find out what it's like to shop for them. Once again, live from CBS News, here is Bryant Gumbel.
Over the next few weeks, more than 33 million Americans are expected to fly home for the holidays. Statistically, it is the safest way to travel, but it's not without risk. Some of those risks are familiar to you, but there's one that comes as quite a surprise. As Richard Schlesinger explains, jets are now competing for space in some not-so-friendly skies.
Delta 1760, are you clearing an emergency? Yeah, Delta 1760 is an emergency, one engine out.
October 1996, a mid-air collision between a Delta jet and a flock of birds.
We took a bird at about 2,000 feet and the number one engine at Southwest 436 this morning. We go off the end of the runway here.
July 1996.
Okay, where do we go?
A Southwest jet has a similar problem.
Just looks like we took a bird down there and a loud explosion.
It's hard to believe that these birds can really do that much damage to this bird. But it was a bird that brought down this Russian fighter, and it was a bird that gave Lynn Troianelli the scare of her life.
I looked out the window when I saw the flames. That's when I really panicked.
The plane Lynn was on had to make an emergency landing just last month. An engine sucked in a bird and caught fire.
Thinking of different ways, if we were going to crash into the water, into the mountains, or if the plane was just going to explode. Well, I've never really thought that a bird would actually fly into an engine. I never even thought of that as a danger in flying.
According to official figures, birds collide with commercial planes about 2,500 times a year. But the government only knows about a fraction of the bird strikes because pilots aren't required to report them. The real number of bird strikes is probably closer to 12,500 a year.
Bird strikes are a major concern when they occur in those last few seconds before the airplane becomes airborne.
John Golia has investigated deadly accidents for 25 years. He's a member of the National Transportation Safety Board, the agency that tries to determine the cause of plane crashes.
I want to see the awareness on this issue as high as any other. I want the threat to be viewed in the same light as a terrorist threat.
How can you compare a bird to a bomb? Look what happened in 1975. An overseas National Airways jumbo jet was racing down the runway when it ran right through a flock of gulls.
We heard the bird start hitting the fuselage, and they lost number 3 engine.
The engine exploded and the plane burned at the end of the runway. Some passengers were injured, but no one was killed. They were not as lucky in 1960. A flock of small birds flew into the engines of an Eastern Airlines plane at Boston's Logan Airport. The plane crashed into the water, killing all but 10 of the people on board.
I was a scuba diver at the time. And right after the airplane crash, I got a call asking me if I had any gear, and it just so happened I had all my gear.
Long before he joined the National Transportation Safety Board, 16-year-old John Golia was called to the scene of that Logan crash.
I had the misfortune of being out there when we had to try to rescue people. And we had some people that survived, but we lost 62 people.
Did you find bodies when you went diving back then? The memory of that day, 37 years ago, is what pushes John Golia today. What is it about what you saw that still moves you to tears more than 30 years later?
The loss of life. Needless loss of life. If we get lax, if we get complacent, if we disregard the warning signs, then we are going to have another one.
Most of the time, bird strikes kill only the birds. But a pilot has to think quickly to avoid something worse.
Right traffic, 6 hotels clear for takeoff.
I was concerned that this was unusual, and the sooner I could get the aeroplane safely back on the ground again, the better.
Taking off last year from Vancouver Airport in a wide-body jet bound for London, Captain Peter Roberts' plane hit between 30 and 50 ducks.
The birds had hit the engine. The cabin crew were fairly excitedly talking about the vibration they could feel. It was approximately 10 times what would have been a normal amount of acceptable vibration within the engine.
After making an emergency landing, Roberts was able to see what the ducks had done.
I regret to say somebody's beak had quite obviously grooved a large score all the way around.
So it was pretty beaten up around the edge of the engine.
Indeed it was. I was very grateful that that engine stayed going.
In fact, aircraft engines are tested to make sure they can absorb an unfortunate bird. The FAA says this engine must be able to suck in 1 8-pound bird or 4 smaller birds and still work. 10 seconds, Bob. To make sure the engines can, manufacturers fire chickens from a high-powered cannon at 180 miles per hour. But the FAA does not require engines to withstand strikes by bigger birds like Canada geese, which are often found around airports and can weigh up to 15 pounds. A flock of Canada geese brought down an Air Force plane 2 years ago in Anchorage. The birds overwhelmed the engines, and all 24 people on board were killed.
The entire industry is asleep on this hazard.
Paul Eschenfelder flies for Northwest Airlines and keeps an eagle eye on the increasing number of bird strikes for the pilots' union. He says most major airlines have no instructions for pilots on what to do to avoid bird strikes.
I've got 14 pages in my flight operations manual on wind shear, 22 pages on icing, 2 pages on wake turbulence, and a whole section on volcanic ash avoidance, and nothing on wildlife escort.
Not a word.
No.
Airlines don't like to talk about their problems with birds at airports, and the FAA makes it the airport's responsibility to control wildlife on their grounds.
On the average, we have 150 bird strikes a year. Luckily and happily, most 150 bird strikes a year.
Al Grazer is general manager of operations for New York's airports. Bird strikes pose serious problems at John F. Kennedy Airport. There's a wildlife refuge right next door. When was the last bird strike report here?
I would say within the last week.
These birds at Nashville, at Philadelphia, and at New York all know an airport is a nice place to loaf.
Airmen use caution for birds on or in the vicinity of the airport.
Airports try scaring the birds away with cannons, bird distress calls, and at JFK with tricks that are 4,000 years old. Tom Cullen is fighting feathers with feathers.
Basically what we're doing is we're using the ancient sport of falconry to harass local populations of birds to vacate Kennedy Airport.
How do you do that? How do you harass them?
Well, what we do is the presence of a falcon in the air and actively hunting. Visually, flocks of birds can see this from a long distance and decide very quickly that this is not a place for them to be.
Birds that can ignore jumbo jets with screaming engines cannot ignore Sesame and her friends. 2 falcons can clear a runway in minutes.
What happens is the birds now have to vacate a very long way to find cover. They have to go clear off the airport grounds.
Bird strikes at JFK dropped by 62% the first year of the falconry program.
How's business? At the moment, I'm doing quite well in Kennedy Airport. Keeps me busy. As long as the birds are here, I guess I'll be here.
That could be for a long time.
In the next 10 years, we're going to have a 5-fold increase in the populations of our birds.
One expert believes that as the skies get more crowded, there is a 1 in 4 chance that a bird strike will cause a fatal commercial plane crash in the next 10 years.
We have not had the catastrophic accident that has gathered the headlines and focused the industry attention on that. And I could almost cry when I say that this is a preventable accident. Why do we have to wait for that accident? We can prevent it now.
Richard Schlesinger is in Atlanta. Richard, you've shown us how jet-bird collisions can have deadly consequences, but in most instances, would I, as a passenger, even feel it if the jet I was on hit a bird?
You know, believe it or not, in many cases, the pilots don't even feel it. They hear sort of a small noise, and they know that something's happened. That's what happens most of the time. But what a lot of pilots are worried about now is that a lot of the birds they're finding around the airports now are bigger. And if you hit one of those, you'll know it.
Well, that prompts the question. I mean, why are officials of the FAA and major carriers seemingly so anxious to look the other way if this threat is so real? I mean, you showed us the demonstration of they're using 8-pound chickens for a test, but you acknowledge that the birds they're having problems with weigh twice that much.
It would probably be an overstatement to say they're looking the other way. The FAA has rules that say that airports have to manage the wildlife on their airport grounds. What they don't say is how much they have to do. There is some movement in this field, but you know, you heard Paul Eschenfelder, the pilot who flies every day, saying that there isn't enough.
Richard, thanks so very much. In Atlanta, sure. Richard Schlesinger, thank you. To find out what authorities in your area are doing about natural hazards to aviation, including birds, other animals, maybe even lightning, we invite you to visit our website. The address is cbs.com/publiceye. We want to move on now to some email we were already hearing from you. In reaction to our piece on college gambling, Tim N. of Britt, Minnesota writes, these students need to learn control. Parents should let their kids face their consequences and not bail them out. From Sylvia C. in East Norriton, Pennsylvania, not only did I think drinking was a major problem, now gambling. If my daughter decides to go away to college in the year 2001, I will be a visitor more often than she will care for. I won't care if I embarrass her. And on our lead story about the Orlando hostage siege, this from Jean S., no hometown given. She asks, if there is a TV in the children's home, aren't you concerned your broadcast may further endanger the children? Well, Jean, hostage negotiators told us that our broadcast would not heighten the danger, and they say that Mr. Armstrong inside has been watching local TV of the standoff around the clock. Still coming up, the 12 days of Christmas and the logistics of shopping for 10 lords a leaf. Stay with us.
Just ahead on Public Eye, skydiving at the North Pole. It's cold. It's desolate. Why on earth would anyone want to leap into the air above the pole? We'll show you why and explain the fascination when we come back.
One of these women uses Suave's new Healthy Shine with Pro Vitamins. The other uses Pantene Pro V. Both have beautiful hair that looks healthy, nourished, and full of shine. So, who uses Suave Healthy Shine? And who spends up to twice as much on Pantene? If you can't tell, why should we? Suave. Don't you look smart?
Sorry. Late for work? Try the new Accord V6 Coupe from Honda.
If people shop elsewhere, they're literally throwing their money away.
They have all the designers I'm looking for.
classic styles for work, trendy clothes for hanging out. It's really, really great.
The prices are so much better here than in department stores.
It's fabulous.
They have everything here.
Everything. We're shopping right now for high chair here. Whenever I need linens, I know to go to Burlington Coat Factory.
Great value, wonderful quality. I love this place.
We've got the most, we're more than coats, Burlington Coat Factory.
This year, make sure your favorite gift giver has the cordless inflator that has all the power he needs to pump up the holiday spirit. The cordless inflator, powered by VersaPack, built by Black & Decker.
Come celebrate at the Olive Garden with Tuscan Holiday Feast. There's Mediterranean garlic shrimp, stuffed chicken and spinach manicotti, and a sirloin steak grilled Tuscan style. Enjoy the festival and the unlimited salad and breadsticks, all just $11.95 at the Olive Garden.
This is the sound of small businesses doing more business with Fridays free. They're doing more because thanks to Sprint, all their long distance on Fridays is free. While the rest of the week, they're still getting Sprint's low flat rates. Even better, call now and get Fridays free until the year 2000 with no term commitment. Call 1-800-598-5000 for Fridays free. Only from Sprint Business.
It's rare when headlines are made at the South Pole, but that was the case this weekend when 3 skydivers plunged to their deaths at the southern tip of the Earth. Why anyone would make such a leap, especially amid the desolation of the South Pole, is incomprehensible to most folks. But those who love the sport of skydiving have a totally different point of view. Skydivers live life on the edge, jumping from heights with nothing between them and the ground but a parachute canopy of nylon. Tragically, last Saturday, that lifestyle claimed Americans Steve Mulholland and Ray Miller, and one Austrian, when they all jumped to their deaths on the icy plains of the South Pole. Their parachutes were never opened. Their journey, for which they each paid $22,000, began in Punta Arenas, Chile. From there was a stopover at Patriot Hills, a small tented camp in Antarctica. Then, a small twin-engine plane ride to an altitude of about 8,000 feet above the South Pole. 6 men jumped, but only 3, including an American, lived to tell about it. Statistically, only about 1 of every 100,000 jumps proves fatal. But this time, at the pole, the figure was 50%. Most jumpers will tell you that the risk is about freedom, that feeling of free fall. For a minute or so, they say, there's no mortgage to pay, no duties to fulfill. It's just you, your body, and miles of endless sky. Bill Booth is a veteran skydiver who has jumped the North Pole and made some of the equipment used by those involved in the South Pole effort. Bill, the 3 who died at the South Pole were highly experienced, veteran jumpers. What do you think happened to them?
I believe they just tried to do too much. The South Pole is a very harsh jumping environment. They were very high. I think one of the big problems here was hypoxia or altitude sickness.
Hypoxia, is that the same as whiteout?
No, not really.
What's hypoxia?
Hypoxia means low oxygen. The higher you go, the more thin the air gets, and you need to have supplemental oxygen. And you can lose judgment if you don't have enough oxygen, and I think that's what happened here. This is coupled by the fact that the South Pole is totally white snow, and you cannot see how high you are above the ground with visual cues. You put those two together, not knowing how high you are with your eyes, and a little lack of judgment that can come from low oxygen levels.
We have some footage that of a jump that you made over, I believe it's the North Pole.
The North Pole.
That gives us an idea, let's go ahead and run it, it gives us an idea of the expanse that you see. As you're falling, what happens? Are you totally disoriented?
Oh, the North Pole I found strikingly beautiful, and there is disorientation. If you've never jumped over a certain terrain, you don't have the visual clues of houses and roads and cars that help you know how high you are. All right, so we have to be very, very careful when we go to these desolate areas, over water, over desert, over the North Pole, as this jump is here. As you can see, it's just pure whiteness as far as you can see in every direction. So you need to depend on your altimeters. Automatic openers are now available that they can step in if you don't open your parachutes.
And we should note that the North Pole is basically at sea level, and the South Pole is about 9,000 feet elevation.
The difference is, yes, 10,000 feet up at the South Pole.
So as a result, you need more oxygen above.
You need oxygen. To jump at the South Pole, you need to be up 17,000, 18,000 feet. At that altitude, humans will pass out without supplemental oxygen.
So at this point, you're inclined to think the error was human, not technical.
Well, yes, as far as I understand from reports I've heard, their parachutes were not opened by them. Not that their parachutes failed to open, they simply did not activate.
They did not open. These are the kind of chutes they were wearing, correct?
Yes.
And was it the emergency chute that didn't deploy, or neither of their chutes?
Neither of them. In two cases, both the main parachute handle and the reserve parachute handle were still in place. They simply were not pulled by the jumpers. They simply lost track of how high they were without the visual clues they were used to.
And as you say, they rely an awful lot on an instrument like this.
Yes.
When they hit the red zone, is that the danger point?
This is the normal opening altitude between 3,000 and 2,500 feet. And this is where the hypoxia could step in. The first symptom of hypoxia is a loss of judgment. And they might not have looked at their altimeter enough to realize where they were.
But how can we have a loss of judgment by 3 veteran divers? I mean, I saw a number that said the chances of 3 chutes not being deployed by 3 veteran divers at the same time is about equivalent to the same person winning a lottery twice.
Yes. Everything that's possible will eventually happen. This is an extremely rare occurrence. But remember, they were in a very extreme place, and extremely rare things happen in places like that. I just think they went a little bit too far in trying to do their formation dive. That also takes your mind off where you are. You're trying to get in with your friends and make a formation, and you lose track of time and altitude.
Take me back to the jump. When you're coming down like that, what are you feeling?
Well, skydiving is physically thrilling. It's visually beautiful. And the beauty, the stark beauty of the North and South Pole might take your mind off the very important thing about how long you have to fall. So you've got to be very careful not get carried away with the beauty of the place.
Do you ever feel, Bill, if I jumped, the only thing I'd be thinking is, I've got the chute that didn't get open. That's all I'd be thinking. Are you ever anxious when you're coming down?
You are the first time, but it's not productive to be anxious. You're jumping because it's fun. And you worry about your equipment when you're new at it, but as you get more experience, the equipment becomes, it's worked 1,000 times in a row.
The conventional wisdom is that those who jump, like those who jumped at the pole, like the idea of defying death. Is that part of the attraction?
No, it's not defying death. I think it's living life to its fullest. Jumping is fun. Jumping is, yes, playing with a very powerful force, gravity. It's like sailing in an open ocean. But I don't think anyone really thinks of death. All right, I think they think of life and the fun that skydiving is.
I spoke earlier today with Michael Kearns, the surviving American, friend of yours. You just spoke with him last week. He said he's still anxious to jump at the pole again, that he feels deeply for his partners who are gone, but he's still anxious to jump again. Has this tragedy given you pause at all about future jumps?
It has. I'm myself planning to go to the South Pole in January.
The 15th?
The 15th. And we've had an expedition of 50 people who have been to the North Pole planned for 3 years. This is the 200th anniversary of sport parachuting. And we wanted to celebrate it by going to the South Pole.
Still going to go?
I believe we are still going to go, yes. We just have to be very careful first time in a hostile environment and not get carried away with the beauty of the place.
We may stick a camera with you.
That would be very nice.
Bill Booth, thanks very much.
Thank you, sir.
When we come back, a final look at some of our email, but first, our public IQ test about the ultimate gift list.
Though there are still 14 shopping days till Christmas, you may be stuck for gift ideas about now. One idea you might consider, gifts from the song, The 12 Days of Christmas. If you're like most people, you probably don't have time to hunt for partridges and pipers or leaping lords and dancing ladies.
This is Linda Rothschild from Cross It Off Your List.
Linda Rothschild can help. Her company does personal shopping and other services for busy people. We wanted to see how fast she could track down the items on that famous list.
We got our work cut out for us. Let me get the phone book.
Hi, Jody. Hi, is Annie there? How are you?
Got to be a better way.
I want somebody that's going to tell me how much it's going to be to contract 12 drummers.
12 drummers drumming was easy.
So it's $250 a man.
Yes. Times 12.
Linda crossed them off before lunch.
The partridge is $350 for 2 hours. These are all rentals.
Most of the animals came from a company that supplies animals for movies and commercials. It took a while, but she got them.
What I also need are ladies dancing.
Not so easy.
The ladies dancing, I'm waiting for callbacks about.
But later in the day, she got them too.
Got it!
Linda found them all. How long did it take? And what did it cost? That's our public IQ test. The answer when we come back.
Nobody does it like you.
Nobody has harnessed the power of the wind like Wind Tunnel by Hoover. A breakthrough in cleaning power. Hoover tested Wind Tunnel against other leading brands. The difference is remarkable. Others scatter much of the dirt, but Wind Tunnel channels the power of the wind, picking up more dirt than any other clean air upright. Only from Wind Tunnel by Hoover.
Does it like you?
Welcome to KFC.
Can I really get a Gigapet with every meal?
Yeah.
Then I'll take 400 Colonel Strip meals, 300...
For a limited time, with every meal, you can get a Gigapet for just $7.99. You just have to get to KFC before he does.
From the beginning, car design started from the outside. But at the Chrysler Corporation, we like to look at things differently. So one day we asked,
why not start with the people and work out?
It started a revolution called Cab Forward. Cars that are roomier, more interesting to look at, more fun to drive. And now that we've built more than 2 million of them, it's time to ask, why not keep pushing it? At the Chrysler Corporation, it's how we build great cars and great trucks.
I got rid of my gray hair in just 5 minutes.
New Just 5, the only 5-minute hair color for women that blends away gray in 5 minutes without changing your natural color.
And I love the natural highlights and shine.
New Just 5.
Tonight on Dave.
Hey, it's the holiday season.
The gifted Sir Anthony Hopkins and Philly's main flyer, Eric Lindros. Tonight on The Late Show.
Kathy Lee brings family and friends together for a joyous all-new holiday special. Kathy Lee, We Need a Little Christmas, CBS Friday. We blew the whistle on invasions of privacy by the IRS. Result, it's facing a congressional inquiry. We told you about alleged wage ripoffs in the workplace. Result, a Senate investigation. And we showed you how tobacco-related illnesses dig deep into everyone's wallet. Straight facts, hard news. The CBS Evening News with Dan Rather. Experience you can trust. Next week.
So we had maybe an hour, 2 at the most, before we'd have all died.
Home furnaces and carbon monoxide leaks. Did one of the nation's largest manufacturers do enough to warn homeowners about the danger?
Isn't it by now clear that there is a problem? No, not at all.
A public eye investigation next Wednesday night.
Got it. Gold rings are covered. Floods of leaping is done.
After a dizzying display of working the phones,
Perfect. Love you. Gotta go now.
Linda was able to track down and price all of the items from this famous list in only 6 hours. And by the way, the final cost for all of this Yuletide treasure?
$31,625.
That's $31,625.
We did a pretty good job.
Here again is Bryant Gumbel.
That's only if you buy the higher price partridge. One more time for feedback before we slip aside, more of which have been emailing us. Thank you, Kevin, since we came on the air. On birds and airline safety, Steve J., No Hometown, suggests, would an easy solution to the problem be as easy as installing a screen over the jet intake? On campus gambling, this from Pam T., also No Hometown. I'll bet you 20 to 1 that these students aren't going to learn their lesson until they do get physically hurt. And from Alton L., this address to the 2 mothers of the 2 Orlando children being held hostage. I cannot begin to know what you are feeling, and my heart goes out to you both. We'll second that one. We're about out of time, but before we leave you, here's a look at what's coming up from CBS News.
I'm Jane Robileau on CBS This Morning. A new study says it's okay to have a drink. Plus, the food to take out of your fridge in our Olympic Shape-Up series, Mark, Don't Drop the Torch.
And on tomorrow's Evening News, Eye on America investigates the murder of a 12-year-old boy and finds the system was as much to blame as his killers.
And that's our show for tonight. For all of us here at Public Eye in Studio 45, I'm Bryant Gumbel. Thanks so very much for joining us. Good night.
For a video cassette of tonight's Public Eye with Bryant Gumbel, please call 1-800-934-NEWS.
Welcome home for the holidays on CBS.
Hallmark Hall of Fame presents
My mama's dead and my daddy's in jail.
one girl's inspirational journey.
I didn't want you to begin with. Nobody wants you. It beats me why a person can't live with whoever they like best.
To find the love of a family.
Honey, we would take you in a minute if we could.
And a place to call home.
You're a keeper.
Jenna Malone, from the best-selling book, Hallmark Hall of Fame's Ellen Foster. CBS Sunday.
The address is CBS. Welcome home.
Who gets to keep $250,000 found in a Catoosa County driveway? The story at 11.
The magic of the season, filled with hope and sparkling lights, can make you long for somewhere you can call your own. The address is CBS. Welcome home, welcome home for the holidays. The address is CBS.
Happy holidays.
Welcome home.
My friend J.D. was about to deliver the punchline of his surefire never-fail joke.
And then the elephant says, "Not with my trunk, you don't."
Seems his son Daryl had a knack for knowing the exact worst time to unplug the phone so he could go online.
Not with my trunk. Hello?
So I suggested they get an additional phone line, which allowed J.D. to say his surefire joke without Daryl's constant interruption.
And the elephant says, "Not with my trunk, you don't."
Well, you know, I mean, he didn't want to with his trunk.
Well, if I had money, I'll tell you what I'd do. I'd go downtown, buy a Ford truck or two. I'm crazy about a Ford truck.
Now drive the tough and versatile Ford Ranger with $1,750 cash back or financing as low as 2.9%. Ranger, the best-selling compact pickup in America, will take you down the road with $1,750 cash back. When you get 2.9 financing on Ranger, you're getting big savings on monthly payments. Hurry, the trucks are tough and the savings are easy. Now at your local Ford dealer.
At Winter Games, the address is CBS.
Previously on Chicago Hope.
I've been rereading some Freud and,